let's just have a quick conversation about real estate, why you got in the business, what prompted you to want to come over and join my team.
I love helping people. I've done it my whole life. And when I sold my house in 2021, my realtor did a really good job of helping me through the process. And it made me super curious about it. I've always kind of thought about it in the back of my mind, but never really went for it. And then after doing more research and just knowing how I like to help people, I decided to go for it.
Is it as easy as you thought it was going to be?
No.
Okay, so share for people what some of the experiences that you've had, or anything that you could share insight to help people understand what you actually do on a daily basis, or
Sure.
what we do, I should say.
So I did not realize that there were so many nuances within a transaction. Anything from things that come up during the appraisal and then the client gets, really upset, having to talk them through it, inspections, all of the things that can happen within an inspection.
Yeah, you and I were talking earlier, and you had made the comment about there's a lot of speed bumps along the way that people don't realize, and
Yeah,
part of our job is to make sure that those items are taken care of before it becomes they're even aware it's a problem. We have the
right.
solution.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And making sure, we keep everyone in communication, but also kind of shielding the client from having to deal with those little things that come up.
Yeah, well, that's good. And so, what was your prior experience prior to getting into real estate? What your background?
I did interior design for a little while. I have a master's in fashion design, so it's very artsy, creative.
Yeah.
But I also worked in insurance as a personal lines producer, so sales and working with people and building relationships.
So you were used to dealing with people's a lot of assets that people have, and which clearly is very valuable to them. And you worked for a, I assume, national company that required you to really have the client's best interest at heart.
Yes, absolutely.
So there is a lot of similarities in what you're doing here with real estate to
Yeah,
in the insurance world.
yeah.
If somebody were to ask you why should they choose you, the Jules Yates team here at REMAX, to help buy or sell, is there any insight you could give a buyer or a seller, whichever you choose, that might help them understand why we're a good choice?
And joining your team, I think one of the main reasons I did it is because you have, a wealth of knowledge. You've been doing real estate for quite some time. Just having access to that information and, you helping me through some of the things that haven't come up for me yet or counseling me in certain situations has been a huge asset. And I'm really happy to have been able to
Well, I
learn from
appreciate
you.
that. Yeah, and one of the things I think that's really important, and a plus when you're working with a team versus individual agents, is there's always somebody that's maybe hasn't run into a scenario.
Yeah.
We have a client that has something happen, and you can address it right off the cuff.
Yeah.
And it's just I've always said that real estate agents don't know what they don't know, and as you probably know, the vast majority of real estate agents maybe do 6 to 8 to 10 transactions a year. We average, anywhere from 50, 60 to 100 a year. So transactional experience is extremely important. And I think the team as a whole being exposed to those different transactions throughout the course of the month, it
Mhm.
really makes you sharp. It's kind of like going to a restaurant when it's slow. You don't get such great service, but when it's hustling and everybody's on their game, you tend to get the best service. And
Yeah.
that's kind of a lot similar to real estate as a whole. What have you noticed about inventory levels or pricing or anything since you've been in the business?
Having sold my house in 2021, the market was wild.
Yeah.
Like I just remember I had multiple offers and I was like, it was actually kind of overwhelming. And since I've gotten into real estate, this is my third year, it's changed substantially. I mean, we still have, occasionally multiple offer situations, but for the most part, I think it's just not as crazy. And the inventory, there are more houses sitting, but not for a long time. It really depends on the price point too, I
Right.
think. That's
Yeah.
a huge factor.
I would definitely agree with that. I know a lot of buyers were really caught up in that whirlwind of multiple offers and paying over asking and not having to be able to put a contingency, as we
Or
write.
inspections, waiving inspections.
Yeah, any of that
Mhm.
stuff, or appraisal gap waivers or escalation
Yeah.
clauses, and I won't go into all the details on those just yet. But the point being is, it's actually for me, this is what's more akin to a normal market. You could actually write an offer, and have some time to negotiate.
Right.
It wasn't just, hey, sign here, bring a checkbook, $30,000 over
Right.
ask, and no contingencies if you even want to shop. And so I think for a lot of agents that got in just prior to COVID, they were just like expecting everything sells instantly. And that's just obviously not the case.
Yeah.
And so to your point, when it comes to pricing, people talk about interest rates and how that's going to affect. And overall, a lot of the people that are buying some of the luxury homes are not too deeply concerned about that
Right.
because they've planned for this years in advance, right?
Right.
It's not as if they're just starting looking. Who's really hurt is first-time home buyers.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much more of a payment when your interest rate's higher.
Yeah, and it really changes affordability. The good news is, would you say we're starting to see some homes actually in the high twos again?
Yeah, that actually has been really nice to see. I mean, I've seen low threes, high twos, and in Traverse City,
Yeah.
for a decent house. So it is kind of turning around, which is good for the first-time home buyers.
Yeah, I think that the trend in the area clearly is always going up.
Yeah.
We certainly
We're
don't
in a
have
beautiful area.
yeah, we don't
Can't
have
help it.
a lack of people wanting to come to Traverse City, so
No.
that really is likely not going to change moving forward. Any advice you can give someone, whether it's let's say somebody fairly new in the market that maybe isn't familiar with this area, any advice you might want to give them that could maybe benefit them?
I think it's really important to do your research, where you want to live. I also think as far as realtors go, like you want to work with someone who you're on the same page with. So maybe interviewing a couple different realtors to find someone who you can work really well with.
Yeah, so some important questions that you might want to ask an agent, of course, is that what I alluded to earlier, transactional experience. I don't think it's so much about how long you've been in the business, like you as a perfect
I don't
example.
think so either. And because of this, I'm able to have so many different perspectives being on a team. Like you've been in the business for so long that
Yeah.
I've got your perspective and Autumn's perspective.
Asking about transactional experiences is important, especially in the last 2 to 3 years. Doing multiple deals and more important, winning, having those little tricks and tips that enable our buyers to be able to get their offer accepted. One of the most important things I think for a lot of buyers that they're not aware of is in our area, our local purchase agreement or form has a out clause in it, aka
Oh, yeah.
inspection provision.
Yeah.
And it basically allows anybody to get out during that inspection period for any reason. It's not about buying it. We're going to get you time for your inspection. We're going to get you time for your financing. We're going to get time to review the title work. So all of those things tie together, and that's part of our job, our fiduciary responsibility to our clients,
Yes.
to make sure that all of those ducks are in a row and that they're making the right decision for them. Let's say you got an out-of-town buyer that calls you, say somebody from Zillow or wherever, and they say, listen, I don't have time to come up and necessarily look at all homes. What is something you can do or we can do for them?
Yeah, I think we do that a lot. That's, something that I would say is special to our team. I mean, we do video tours, and they're high definition video tours, going in with professional equipment.
Yeah.
And making sure that they can watch it on any screen, whether their phone or they want to cast it to their TV. And they can watch it over and over. It's not just like a FaceTime where, they can see it live, but they can watch it over and over.
Yeah, we treat it as if they're standing next to us and we
Yeah.
walk through the home. We can tell them if there's any smells or any odors.
That's super important,
Yes,
too.
it is, because you certainly can't see that in the photos, can you?
Right.
You get a lot of surprises sometimes. But pointing out some of the things that somebody might not necessarily know, things you can't see from the photo, walk through, show them the floor plan, address any of their concerns that they had and what it is they're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So I
The
think
beaches, a lot of times people want to know if it's sandy or rocky, those
Yeah.
are all.
Yeah, and we have access to the drone, of course. We put the boat in if we have to, walk out,
Yeah.
wait out in the water, whatever we need to do in order to help our clients accomplish their objective. Is there anything else you'd like to share with people that is important to know about you when it comes to helping with real estate?
I don't know if I take it personally, but I really look out for my clients. That is my number one job. And legally,
Yeah.
as we talked about earlier, that is something that is very important to me, is making sure that my clients are well taken care of during the entire transaction and also after, making sure that they're happy in their home and we keep that relationship. And then in the future, if they decide to, grow and they want a bigger house or maybe they want to scale down, I want to keep that relationship.
A lot of our clients will reach out to ask recommendations for restaurants
Yeah.
or
If they're just moving here, doctors, dentists, I mean, all
plumber,
contractors.
all of that stuff. And so it's not just about helping them find the home. It's about building a relationship with a client over the long term.
Yeah.
Kind of like you build a relationship with your doctor or your attorney. This isn't about the one transaction, would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we are a full service team from recommending lenders, appraisers, inspectors. We have a full-time staff that can help with closings. Having a good relationship with other real estate agents is important. Would you also agree?
Yeah, I do think that is very important. And working up here,
Fairly tight-knit group. I mean, most people that have been in the business any amount of time have at one point or another done a transaction with someone else, and you learn those nuances, and sometimes it can be helpful to work with somebody that you know. I mean, of course, we're representing our client's interest, but it definitely helps when the other agent knows that our clients are well vetted, prepared, well-written contracts, hooked up with a good lender that is actually going to close, and that really gives you a little bit of a competitive edge, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yes. I want to ask you a few questions. So, what is your favorite part about leading a team?
The best part about leading a team, that's quite simple. I grew up in the real estate business. My dad was a developer, and I remember growing up as a kid, he had two good friends, in fact, that are still in the business to this day that he helped start their career. And I've had now 13 agents that I've trained over the years. And my goal is to help build agents and create a lifelong career that they can then do what I've done for people over the years and continue on and have a fulfilling lifelong career.
That's really cool. So your dad did it, now you're doing it.
Yeah, there was 3 in particular that I know that he helped over the years get into the land business back in the 70s. There's still one gentleman over in Bel Air, in fact, that is still selling real estate. And he's got to be in his 80s. I mean, granted, he's doing it.
He must really love it. He's in his 80s doing real estate.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, your dad must have had a big impact on it.
It did, and it really is that is really important to me, to be able to train agents. I mean, I think one of the biggest things about real estate is it's really easy to get a license. You know, you go in and you sit through a 40-hour class. During that 40-hour class, you learn everything you need to know to pass the test.
So many things.
And a lot of stuff you will forget 5 minutes later that has very little relevance, like how many square feet in an acre or how many feet in a mile, and
all the acts. Yes.
We don't learn about contracts, writing clauses, any of that stuff.
And that was a big shift for me. Like taking the class, doing the test, and thinking I had all this knowledge, and then I was like, wait, how do I write a contract?
Right.
Or, that was a huge thing for me when I first started.
I've always been an advocate that they should teach a real estate 101 class after you get your license, right?
Yes.
Which is basically how I kind of started doing what I'm doing, and why I started the team was to have the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah.
As you know, I've been on the board of directors, the forms committee, the MLS committee, the MLS board. All of that stuff is important to me, and staying on top of that information and help sharing it with you guys and our clients to be able to help has really been really beneficial.
I think probably one of the biggest things I've learned from you so far is how to write a purchase agreement, like a contract, and make it contractually sound. Because, my first transaction, I was brand new. And
right.
So it was not, like looking back, I'm like, gosh, I would have put this in there and I would have put this in there. But yeah, that's
and it turned out well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it turned out great. And it was fine. And I still talk to my client. I'm so happy. But it's just those things that you learn. And that's why I'm glad that I'm here, because you've really taught me a lot about that.
And to your point, people always, you go online and ask for a real estate agent, and they always say, pick this person. They were great, right? Yeah. But if you've only done one transaction with them, or 2 transactions maybe over the course of 20 years, how do you really know, right? Yeah. And that's not to disparage any other real estate agent. Right. But what it really comes down to, and we talked about this earlier, our job is to make sure that we, even in the language you write in a contract, prepare for the worst, but anticipate the best. Yes. And when you write a clear contract, it avoids dispute, which is why we don't end up in disputes generally. Everything is pretty clear,
Yes.
and concise. And
Forethought, which is really what you taught me. What if this happens? Think about this, or what could happen in this way. So
yeah, most people write contracts based on the assumption that everything is
it's
going to
gonna go,
go
yeah,
right.
it's gonna go great.
And it doesn't, does it?
No. I mean, so you get those occasional ones that are like, but for the most part, no. There are things that happen and come up. And so you've got to be able to.
I 100% agree. So, hey, let's talk real quick while we're on the subject. Talk about the changes that happened last August with the National Association of Realtors. What are you seeing in talking to potential buyers now that they're required to sign an agreement of some sort? What are some of the conversations, or how is that going, or how do you address that when people ask?
Sure. There's really two different conversations. So the people, that I know and have a level of trust with, because now we have to have all of our clients, before we show them a house, we have to have them sign an agreement saying that we're going to show them the property. So the people that I have a good level of trust with are, super understanding of that. They sign it, no questions asked. But the people who, don't know me, maybe the Zillow calls or someone comes to me through the website, it's a little bit more of a conversation, and what it is and why it's happening. And they really have been fine. I haven't had anyone,
Yeah,
maybe one person that was like, no, I'm not signing that. But
yeah, and that's the reason, we had always used to use exclusive buyer representation
yeah,
agreements,
and now
and now that we
non-exclusive.
use the
Non-exclusive. Yes.
non-exclusive, and now that we use the non-exclusive agreements, it basically just spells out all of our responsibilities to them, their responsibilities to us, how we're going to get paid if we do a transaction, and if for whatever reason we're not holding up our end of the bargain, we're not locking someone down that just met us,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and
They
that.
have the option to go, if they decide, if they so choose.
Yeah, and in the
They
past,
probably won't, but
right. And in the past, we were able to build trust with someone over a period of time of showings that
yeah.
they realized, yes, this is a person that I want to work with. And that being said, I think it's really important for potential buyers to understand that there is no specific agreement that they have to sign. It's got to be, by definition, an agreement. And that agreement can be exclusive, non-exclusive, specific
Hmm.
to one property, specific to a county,
County.
one transaction, multiple transactions, or
Yeah.
anything
So many
all over the
options.
map.
Hmm.
So definitely a buyer wants to take the time to read through that contract, understand the logic of why that particular agent, team, or broker uses that form, and what they can anticipate moving forward. If any of you have any questions about real estate, you can always reach out to either Michelle or myself or any of us here at the Jules Yates Team at REMAX Bayshore. We're located in downtown Traverse City. Feel free to hit the like button or subscribe if interested in seeing more of these videos. And we're always available, so check us out on the web and stay tuned to our YouTube channel here for more information. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.